Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Talha, and I am absolutely delighted to connect with you as a dedicated educator. So, the purpose of creating this channel is to facilitate you people, as I can understand that you all are preparing for your CAIs. So, this channel provides you the content related to O levels and IGCSE Chemistry. So, these are some of the learning outcomes from the updated syllabus of Cambridge O levels, right? So we're gonna do we can understand the content first of all, and then we'll be doing some of the questions from the past papers. After every video I'll be doing topical series, so please stay connected, right? So without wasting any further time, let's get started. The first chapter जो आज हमने करना है, that is periodic table. Okay, so let's begin. So these are the learning outcomes of the updated Cambridge syllabus. ठीक है, तो आप लोगों ने इन contents को go through कर लेना है, right? You can just pause down the video, take notes, and they are also available on the Cambridge website. ठीक है, so you can get these from the Cambridge website. ये आपको वहाँ से मिल जाएंगी. Okay. All right, so let's begin. So all right, so what is a periodic table? Let's get into the topic. So what is a periodic table, right? As you all know that the periodic table basically contains total 118 elements. Right, and these elements, right, are arranged in a tabular form, right? So there's a tabular arrangement of elements, okay, right? So this is called as periodic table, right? So periodic table is a list of elements arranged in the order of increasing proton number. Right, so this thing should be very clear to all of you, that how the elements are arranged. So they are arranged in the order of increasing proton number, or you can also say atomic number, right? Right, atomic number, which is the number of protons, right? Okay, so now in the periodic table you will find that there are groups and periods. Okay, so what are groups basically? So group is a vertical column of elements, okay, downwards. Okay, for instance we have this periodic table, and the downward column from top to bottom downwards, they are basically called as groups. Okay, so this is vertical column of elements, right? So the periodic table contains 8 groups. How many groups are there in total? It should be very much clear to all of you that total हमारे पास periodic table के अंदर there are 8 groups, group 1 to 7 and 0 group, right? So 0 group is also called as group 8, right, which are basically noble gases. Right, so group runs from top to bottom. So these things should be kept in mind, that the groups usually run from top to bottom. Okay, so let's focus on the periods now, right? You can also say groups or columns, and periods, or you can say rows. Okay, rows. So this is basically a horizontal arrangement of the elements, right? You can write it down over here that this is horizontal arrangement of elements. Okay, so the horizontal row of elements, the periodic table consists of 7 periods, right? And they run from left to right along the period, right? For instance, from the left side towards the right side. Okay, so here we have the first period, which contains only two elements. One is hydrogen and helium, and in the period 2 we have different elements, right? So from left to right, basically they are, what do we call them? They are called as the periods. Okay, so do not confuse the groups and periods. Clear? Here we have the periodic table, and you can easily notice over here that these are basically the groups. So let's count down the groups first of all. Like we have 1, 2, from here to here we have transition metals. Right, till here. And we have group 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and group 8 right over here. Okay, so this is basically group 8, right? And if we count the periods, how many periods do we have? Start counting from here, top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so these things should be kept in mind. You will be provided with the table in Cambridge exam, right? All right, let's move on to the next part. Now another important thing that you need to understand, which is there in the outlines, that is, describe the change from metallic to non-metallic character across the period, right? So just remember this thing, that in the periodic table we have metals on the left side. Okay, so metals are present on the left side, right? And when we're moving from left to right, we have more non-metals, okay, on the right side. Okay, so metals really are grouped on the left hand side of the period, and the non-metals are grouped on the right hand side. So due to change from metal to non-metal, the properties of the elements change, right? So as you all are familiar that metals usually have different properties. Different properties from non-metals, right? Right, so we have more metals on the left side and less metals on the non-metals on the other side, right? And metals over here, right? So we can say that there is decrease in metallic properties and increase in non-metallic properties across the period. Or you can also say this, that metallic character metallic nature or metallic character decreases across the period. Okay, so if you just look over here, right? So if you just check out the arrangement, right? So we have over the element sodium over here in the group 1, right? Then we have magnesium, then we have aluminum. So basically these three are metals, right? Here we have a metalloid and we have non-metals over here. Okay, so this thing should be kept in mind. This is the general trend of the periodic table, that metallic character. What happens in exam, they may ask you, okay, tell us what happens when we move from left to right across the period to the metallic character. So it should be very much clear to every one of you that metallic character decreases along period. Okay, Now, okay, let us understand that what happens to the metallic character along the group. Okay, so what is happening to the metallic character along the group, right? What do you think? Okay, tell me. Okay, for example, we have let's say group 1, we have sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, or francium, right? So this is basically group 1. Just giving an example. Group 1. Okay, so sodium is a metal, metal. All of them are basically metals. But what if I tell you that this potassium is more metallic than sodium, right? So why have I said this? मैंने क्यों कहा ऐसा? Why potassium is more metallic than the sodium? You know, as you go down the group, there is increase in size of atom. Right? From top to bottom, the size of the atom increases. For example, if you just look over here at this diagram, you will get a clear idea that the lithium over here, lithium, you know, is a smaller metal. Then we have sodium, and then we have potassium, right? So size is increasing. Size of atom increases across period. Okay, so when the size of the atom increases, what happens then? Going down the group, the size of the atom increases, and there's a distance between the nucleus and the valence shell electron. It also increases. For example, let's say we have this is the nucleus, right? And as you all know that nucleus is positively charged, right? And here we have an electron over here, and electron is negatively charged. All right, so nucleus is positively charged and electron is negatively charged. Now there is going to be a force of attraction between these two, right? So this force of attraction basically do not let the electron to go easily, right? And we all know that metals are good donors of electrons. Right? So if I increase the size of this, इसका size अगर बड़ा कर दें थोड़ा सा, like we have let's say lithium, and here we have potassium, only showing the outer shell electron. The size is getting bigger, right? Now the nucleus will be at a distance from the outer shell electron. There is going to be more distance, उनमें ज़्यादा फासला होता है, और जिसकी वजह से ये electron easily lose कर देता है. It tends to lose electron very easily, right? जो जितना जल्दी इलेक्ट्रॉन को लूज कर देगा उतना ही ज़्यादा वो मेटल कंसिडर होगा. Okay, so the same is the reason I have mentioned over here. An element further down a group will lose its electron more easily, right? ठीक है, तो जितना ज़्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉन एटम अपना इलेक्ट्रॉन को जल्दी लूज कर देगा उतना ज़्यादा ही वो मेटालिक कंसिडर होता है. आई होप आई मेड अ पॉइंट क्लियर ओवर हियर. ठीक है, तो इस चीज़ को आपने अंडरस्टैंड कर लेना है बहुत अच्छी तरह से कि जितना ज़्यादा एटम का साइज़ बड़ा हो जाएगा उतना ज़्यादा उसका मेटालिक नेचर बढ़ जाएगा. ओनली इफ़ द ग्रुप इज़ कंटेनिंग ऑल द मेटल्स. ठीक है, दिस इज़ यू नो एक्सप्लिसिटली फॉर द मेटल्स. ये मेटल्स की बात हो रही है, ठीक है, और मेटालिक नेचर की बात हो रही है, राइट, अक्रॉस द ग्रुप. क्लियर? Okay, now here we have a question for you people. Let's see how many of you can do this question. ठीक है, which of the following element is more metallic? आपने बताना है कौन सा ज़्यादा metallic है, कौन सा ज़्यादा metallic है, right? You can pause the video, इस वीडियो को आप लोग pause कर दो, right? और उसके बाद try to solve this question by yourself. ठीक है, इसको आपने खुद से इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करना है. मेक श्योर द टेबल इज़ इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. आपके सामने प्योरिक टेबल पढ़वाना चाहिए, ठीक है, बिफोर यू अटेम्प्ट इट. ठीक है, So let's do it quickly. We have sodium, magnesium, aluminum, and sulfur, right? So it is pretty obvious sulfur is a non-metal, so we are going to exclude sulfur, right? Now there's a comparison between these three. ठीक है, we have sodium, we have magnesium, and we have aluminum. What is the trend? अभी मैंने ट्रेंड आपको बताया, वो ट्रेंड क्या होता है? ट्रेंड क्या है मेटालिक कैरेक्टर का? कि increases down the group or decreases along the period. ठीक है, अब ये देखो सोडियम, मैग्नीशियम और एल्यूमिनियम. लेट्स हैव अ लुक एट द टेबल. ये कहाँ कहाँ पे लोकेटेड है बताओ मुझे शाबाश. We have the sodium over here. अगर आप देखो इसको यहाँ पे, if I could zoom it for you people, we have sodium, we have magnesium and we have aluminum. तो सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सा मेटालिक कंसिडर होगा तीनों में? Yes, जो सबसे ज़्यादा लेफ्ट साइड पे है. Okay, so which one is present on the extreme left side of the table? वो है sodium. So the correct answer is going to be sodium. Sodium is more metallic than the remaining. Right? Are we clear with this? बच्चों, any problem? Great. All right. Describe the relationship between the group number and charge of the ions formed for element. Yes, this is very important concept. And you need to understand this quite well. ठीक है? So this is general trend. First of all, just jot down that trend कि वो trend basically होता क्या है, right? So trend होता है basically कि the group number, whatever is the group number, ठीक है? So group number of an atom tells us the number of valence electrons. ठीक है, so whatever is the group number, जो भी group number होगा किसी भी चीज़ का, what information can we get from that? We can easily predict that कि इसके outer shell में उतने electrons consider होते हैं, right? So each element in the same group have the same number of valence electrons. For example, let's take an example of halogens, right? So we have halogens over here: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine, right? So all of these elements belong to which group? Group 7. So what can I predict about their properties? कि इनके outer shell में कितने electrons होंगे? 7 electrons होंगे, क्योंकि ये group 7 से belong करते हैं. ठीक है? All of them have 7 electrons in their outermost shell. अब मुझे how can I get to know कि ये stable कैसे हो सकते हैं? How can they complete their outermost shell? Of course, by gaining 1 electron. They will gain 1 electron to complete their shell. अपने shell को पूरा करने के लिए. ठीक है? So, if in the same way, in the same fashion, if we have the elements, let's say in the group 1, in the group 2, group 3, ठीक है? तो group 1 के outer shell में कितने electrons consider किए जाएंगे? Like we have sodium, ठीक है? Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. This is group 1. कितने electrons होंगे outermost shell में? 1 electron. How will it become stable? Stable कैसे होगा? It will donate 1 electron. डोनेट कर देगा, और जब ये डोनेट कर देगा इस पे क्या चार्ज आ जाएगा? +1 का चार्ज आ जाएगा, +1. ग्रुप 2 पे, ग्रुप 2 beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, all of these will be having a charge of +2. Group 3, what is the charge in group 3? +3. Group 4, 4. Group 5, अच्छा, here we have a little change कि 5 onwards, when an atom is having 5 electrons, it will gain 3 electrons. It will gain 3 electrons. It will gain 3 electrons, right? So it will gain a charge of -3. Then 6 will be having a charge of -2. 7 will be having a charge of -1, and 8 will be having complete outermost shell. उनपे कोई भी charge जो है वो नहीं आता. Okay? So group 8 will be having no charge. ठीक है? Because they have complete outermost shell. राइट तो इस चीज़ को, इस कॉन्सेप्ट को आपने बहुत क्लियरली अंडरस्टैंड करना है व्हेनेवर यू आर राइटिंग डाउन द केमिकल फार्मूलाज, या आप कभी भी अपनी इक्वेशंस लिख रहे हो एंड यू नीड टू गेट द चार्जेस. हाउ कैन यू ऑब्टेन द चार्जेस? चार्जेस आप कैसे ऑब्टेन कर सकते हो? जस्ट गो टू द टेबल, और यही वाले जो पैटर्न मैंने आपको बताया, ग्रुप 1 पे +1, 2 पे +2, 3 पे +3, 4 पे +4, 5 पे -3, -2, -1 and 0. Just write down all these charges, right? It would be convenient for you to predict the charge on any atom, right? Okay, here we have some of the general trends, बच्चों. जैसे कि सबसे पहले, okay, size of the atom, we have just discussed the size of the atom. The size of the atom increases along the group. Why? What is the reason behind this? ये क्यों increase होता है along the group? Yes, it increases along the group due to increase in number of shells. ठीक है, on going down the group number of shells increase, ठीक है, which causes increase in number of which causes increase in size, increase in size of atom. ठीक है, गोइंग डाउन द ग्रुप क्या बढ़ता है? नंबर ऑफ शेल्स इंक्रीज हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, क्योंकि प्रोटॉन नंबर भी बढ़ता जाता है, तो ज़्यादा शेल्स चाहिए इन ऑर्डर टू एकोमोडेट ऑल दी इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. ठीक है, एंड व्हाट हैपन्स टू द साइज ऑफ द एटम? इट डिक्रीजेज अलोंग द पीरियड. ये पेपर में बहुत ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन आते हैं. दे आस्क यू द ट्रेंड्स, के बताओ भाई लेफ्ट टू राइट क्या हो रहा है साइज को, और टॉप टू बॉटम क्या हो रहा है साइज को. सो मेक श्योर यू गाइस आर प्रीटी मच क्लियर अबाउट दिस. आप सबको पता होना चाहिए इसके बारे में कि साइज ऑफ द एटम जो होता है वो अलोंग द ग्रुप क्या हो रहा है, बड़ा हो रहा है एटम का साइज, और अलोंग द पीरियड वो डिक्रीज हो रहा है साइज उसका. ठीक है, so let's write it down. The size of the atom decreases along the period. What is the reason? The reason is that the number of electrons are increasing, right? There is an increase in number of electrons. ठीक है, अब बच्चे यहाँ पूछते हैं कि सर ये इलेक्ट्रॉन्स के बढ़ने से साइज का क्या ताल्लुक है. ठीक है, सो जस्ट टेक अ पॉज एंड लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग ओवर हियर. ठीक है, आई विल नॉट टेक मच ऑफ द टाइम, लेकिन इस चीज़ को अंडरस्टैंड करना इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि साइज पे क्या डिफरेंस पड़ता है, डिक्रीज क्यों होता है अलोंग द पीरियड. याद रखें कि पीरियड की जब हम बात करें वी टॉकिंग अबाउट द रोज. ठीक है, यानी कि लेफ्ट टू राइट. ठीक है, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट फ्रॉम लेफ्ट टू राइट. ठीक है, नाउ प्लीज ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग कि व्हेन वी आर गोइंग फ्रॉम लेफ्ट टू राइट इन द पीरियड, ठीक है, तो नंबर ऑफ शेल्स जो होती हैं दे स्टे सेम. राइट, ओनली नंबर ऑफ वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन्स इंक्रीज. ठीक है, ठीक है, बाकी मैं यहाँ पे ऊपर लिख रहा हूँ. तो नंबर ऑफ वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन्स जब इंक्रीज हो जाते हैं तो देयर इज गोइंग टू बी a pull force, you can say a nuclear force, the force between the nucleus and the outer shell electrons. ठीक है, here we have outer shell electrons. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे एक इलेक्ट्रॉन्स था तो इसके दरमियान में फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन एग्जिस्ट कर रही थी. राइट, एंड व्हेन वी आर मूविंग अक्रॉस द पीरियड देयर गोइंग टू बी द सेम शेल्स बट इलेक्ट्रॉन्स कीप इंक्रीजिंग. Okay, now tell me where there is going to be a stronger force of attraction, in A or in B? Right, of course in B, right, because nucleus is positively charged and electrons are negatively charged. तो दोनों के दरमियान में एक pull force होगी जो एक दूसरे को खींचेगी अपनी तरफ. ठीक है, which causes contraction in the size of an atom. Contraction in the size of an atom. ठीक है, जिसकी वजह से size of an atom decreases along the period. Right, I hope I made it clear to everyone. Please do not write it wrongly कि एटम का साइज इंक्रीज हो रहा है, इट इज इंक्रीजिंग अलोंग द ग्रुप एंड डिक्रीजिंग अलोंग द पीरियड. ओके, so what next we have another general trend, chemical properties. Yes, very important question, chemical properties वाला कि chemical properties हम कैसे predict करते हैं, what can we say about the chemical properties. ठीक है, so elements in the same group have similar chemical properties. Why is this so? अभी क्वेश्चन पेपर में आएगा. Explain why do they have similar chemical properties. वो कहेगा sodium and potassium have same chemical properties. Why? Right? वो आपसे कहेगा magnesium and calcium, ठीक है, have same chemical properties. Why is this so? ऐसा क्यों होता है? ठीक है, the reason is that they have, please jot down the reason. अब सारे reason लिखो. The reason is that they have same valence shell electrons. उनके दरमियान valence shell electrons जो होते हैं बेटे वो सेम होते हैं. ठीक है, and this is the only reason they possess same chemical properties. कैम्ब्रिज में ये 1 मार्क का क्वेश्चन आपको आएगा पेपर के अंदर. वो आपको एग्जामिनर क्वेश्चन करेगा कि टेल अस व्हाई डू दे हैव सेम केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज, दे बिलोंग टू सेम ग्रुप. सो इट शुड बी वेरी क्लियर टू एवरीवन, राइट. नेक्स्ट व्हाट वी हैव इज द नंबर ऑफ शेल्स. ये तो मैंने आपसे अभी डिस्कस कर लिया. नंबर ऑफ शेल्स को क्या होता है कि एलिमेंट्स इन द सेम पीरियड हैव द सेम नंबर ऑफ शेल्स और एनर्जी लेवल्स. ठीक है, the number of shells are same. So what is changing over here? What is changing over here? Only the number of electrons in the shells. ठीक है, number of electrons in the shell are changing. ठीक है, but shells remain same. All right, okay, here we go. सबसे पहला वाला सवाल बच्चों, चलो जी, start doing this question, try it yourself. Which statement about the element, let me zoom it out for you, थोड़ा सा zoom करते हैं इसको ताकि आपकी image clear आ जाए यहाँ पे. Okay जी, I hope everybody can see this. Which statement about elements in the periodic table is correct? अभी आप लोगों ने trends पढ़े हैं, जल्दी से trends को recall करें and tell me what do you think is the right answer, right? The first one is all the elements in the same group have same reactivity. No, we cannot say anything about the reactivity. हमने अभी पढ़ा ही नहीं है इसको, but reactivity is different, right? All the elements with 4 electrons in the outermost shell are metals. No way. Again, this is wrong, right? So an element is group 2 of the periodic table would form a -2 charge. Really? Can it form a -2 charge? If it is having 2 electrons, of course it will donate these 2 electrons, right? So this is not wrong, right? Not right. Elements in the same period of the periodic table have the same number of shells of electron. Yes, this is what we have just studied, right? So D is the correct answer. Okay, so which electronic configuration represents 3 metallic elements in the same period? Now the period is same, remember, period is same. ठीक है, period is same means that the number of shells are same. Number of shells must be same. ठीक है, and just remember this thing, it's a key point over here. आपको बताता चलूँ मैं कि metals के अंदर usually metals have, you know, metals are good donors of electrons. ठीक है, we have discussed this in the class as well, that they are the donors of electrons, they donate electrons. So they usually most of the metals, they possess 1, 2 and 3 electrons in their outermost shells. ठीक है, so tell me which one is the right answer out of all these. देखो number of shells पहले कंसिडर करो, इसमें सेम है, इसमें तो 7 आ रहे हैं, 8 आ रहे हैं, 1 आ रहा है, पहले वाला तो इज नॉट राइट, राइट. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे तो नंबर ऑफ शेल्स ही डिफरेंट है, सो 2 वाला इज अगेन रॉन्ग. व्हाट अबाउट द थर्ड वन? थर्ड वन में देखो 2, 3, लेकिन यहाँ पे 4 आ गए हैं, तो वी कैन नॉट कंसिडर इट अ मेटल. ठीक है, सो द D one, ऑफ कोर्स D इज द करेक्ट आंसर. ठीक है, सो D इज द correct answer. All right, here we have some of the other questions. यहाँ पे in the periodic table how many periods are needed to accommodate थोड़ा सा हम इसे webcam को adjust कर देते हैं यहाँ पे. Okay, so in the periodic table how many periods are needed to accommodate the elements of atomic number 1 to 18. So you have the elements 1 to 18. ठीक है, so for this you need to consider the periodic table. आप इसको correctly देख लो periodic table को. ठीक है, 1 to 18 पहले वाले में you know how many shells can basically accommodate these 1 to 18 elements? Tell me. The first shell will have 2, second will have maximum of 8 electrons, and third one will have maximum of 8 electrons, right? So total is 18 और आपने 18 को ही consider करना है, right? So you have to consider 18 electrons from 1 to 18. How many shells do you require? Of course you require 3 shells. Okay, an element X forms an ion with X negative 3 charge. X minus 3 का charge आ गया उसके ऊपर, तो वो किस ग्रुप से बिलोंग करता होगा? What do you think where it belongs to? minus 3 का charge कब आता है? When it gains 3 electrons. ठीक है, when it will gain 3 electrons. ठीक है, and when will it gain 3 electrons? At least it needs to have 5 electrons in the outermost shell. ठीक है, in order to complete the noble gas configuration. ठीक है, तो 5 उसके अंदर already exist कर रहे होंगे and it is gaining these 3 electrons, so it will be belonging to group number 5. C is the correct answer. Okay, are we clear with this? Great. So please make sure you pause the video, attempt these questions by yourself और end पे आपने check करने अपने answers. ठीक है, alright, this is enough for today. In the next video I'll be covering up with alkali metals, ठीक है, and their properties and the general trends. ठीक है, तब तक के लिए अपना बहुत सारा ख्याल रखिए, दुआओं में याद रखिए अपने टीचर को. माय नेम इज़ तलहा. ओवर एंड आउट. देखते रहिए समा टीवी. अल्लाह हाफिज़. थैंक यू क्लास.